Good morning. It is very early this morning, so let's go ahead and get back to the last caretaker. All right, so what I'm going to do, give me a second to load the game. This is what we want. All right. This is where we left off. We are at the last listener beacon, and we have actually completed that quest line. So with the last listener, Buggerstone, I have somehow managed to annoy one of these things. It wanders by, takes a shot at me, and then leaves again. I don't know why. There are a lot of enemy battles up the last listener. You go up these stairs to the top of a tower. There's a battle. Set up power up there. There is a bridge that extends. Sometimes when you reload a save, it decides it doesn't want to extend. And the trick for that is to unhook the power, turn it off, hook it back up, turn it back on again, and then flip the switch, and the bridge should extend. There's another bottle at the other end in front of the buildings over there. There's a third one. These are all the roller boys, which are the well, they're the sort of balls that spit things at you, that shoot lasers or machine guns, depending. There's one at the top of this tower. There's one across the bridge. There's one up on the roof. And then there is one on this bridge over here. There is an elevator over there. You can see I got it working briefly, but it requires having power to the entire complex. At some point, as I said, I upset these and they are not happy with me. The angels, at least one of them takes a pot shot at me every time it comes past. I'm not sure which one it is or whether shooting back at that one is going to annoy the others. So part of what's going on here is that we have come to the end, as far as I can tell, of the dedicated quests, of the open quests. We have completed everything. I'm going to scroll down to the beginning. Oop. Scroll down to the end. I have sailed to the last listener and activated the relay. So what does that do? I can run up for the cockpit. Don't fall off the boat. So what does that do? That opens up the rest of the map, at least as it exists at the moment. This is an early access game. It's just released about a little over a week ago. So this is, at least at the moment, the last of the map. So we started at the very beginning over here at Sanctuary 37. The quests, and I followed the quests. I did not do an awful lot of side missions or random locations. Follow the quest to Beacon 49. Beacon 49 sends you to the Lazarus Complex. The Lazarus Complex sends you to Norfolk Grave, which is this underwater space. Norfolk sends you on to the Seed Vault Prometheus, where you pick up a human seed, take it back to the Lazarus Complex, at which point the next quest is to go to Exodus, which is the rocket launcher all the way over here. After the rocket launch goes off, you are sent up to the last listener. So what did the last listener do? It opened up and revealed all of these seed vaults. That's what this icon is, with the little human inside the pod. All of these that say unknown, those are new. They pop up on the map after the last listener has been completed. So up until that point, you can get to these solar panel arrays, you can get to a lot of these underground spaces or underwater spaces. This icon with the building that's been broken off, that indicates an underwater space, like Norfolk Grave. I keep mispronouncing that. This is some sort of warehouse or resource depot. I have not entered one of those yet. These are refuel outposts where you pick up petrol or diesel. And these are other sanctuaries. So they are similar to the dock where you started. Again, I haven't gotten into any of them. So what I expect the game loop is at this point is go back to the rocket launch and to the Lazarus Complex, trick them out fully so that they can take repeated use instead of the one-time use that I was doing in the past. Clear them all out, take care of any enemies that might be there, and then find the seed vaults. Go back, get a seed, go back to the Lazarus Complex, grow a human, take that to the rocket launch. And the rocket, I believe, took 3 humans at a time. There are 4 pods in the Lazarus Complex. So there's a little bit of give and take. I think you might have to go down to the underwater spaces to get the codes that open the seed vaults, because we had to go to Norfolk Grave to get the code that opened the seed vault Prometheus. So we went up here. There was an underwater puzzle, and then it said you've gotten the code to open Prometheus, and then Prometheus popped up and we knew where it was and we could get into it. So I think that's the loop. You set up the 2 main spaces, then you go around to the graves, get the codes, and they will open up different seed vaults. Whether there's proximity, for example, this is Norfolk Grave, but the code it produced was for Prometheus, which is way up in the north. It did not produce the code to this seed vault, which is closest to it. I don't know whether it's random which seed vault you get when you get the code, or whether it is proximity based, or whether it's set in stone and you can do them in a certain order. So what happens with the seed vault? I did not encounter this. Hey, chat, how's it going? So what happens with the seed vaults is that there's a timer on those seeds. You have to get the seeds back to Lazarus within a certain amount of time. So the further seed vaults apparently are going to be harder to get back within the timer. So you have to probably want to have diesel in the ship so that it can move really fast. So we're kind of in the end game, at least as it exists now for this title. The one thing I have not accounted for is this, which is unique on the map, and it is obviously some sort of drilling rig of some kind. Uh, I've seen the name Black Vein pop up, which makes sense for a drilling rig. This would be obviously a source of petrol, although getting it back to the spaces where it can be useful uh, is probably a bit of an issue. That's one of the next problems that would have to get solved. Um, so, what to do now? I think the first thing I want to do is I want to go back to Lazarus and take a look around there a bit more, clean up some more of the materials. I may also want to go back to the original sanctuary. A question that I have not answered at the moment is whether or not resources respawn. I'm going to go ahead and start piloting the boat. Naturally, I'm doing this at the crack of midnight. I'm checking behind. There's a mine off to the side. I'm leaving a lot behind here. But you're going backwards. Going backwards, boat. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The boat is moving. I always seem to get the boat moving in the middle of the night when it's storming. The weather in this is bonkers. All right. Assuming I don't run into anything. If I change my view, I look here. I had left the map pointed in the wrong direction, so it's not as useful. Let's go ahead and we're still going backwards. So I'm going to go ahead and turn ship towards Lazarus. I suspect I'm very sluggish because the wind turbines are my power source and they need to be repaired. You can see those floaters or are those mines? You can see I'm going very slow, partly because of the weather, partly because I don't have a lot of power on the ship at the moment. So the question that I have is, do resources respawn? We've seen some of the enemies respawn in some areas, but you don't have I don't have a question as to whether resources respawn. That changes the playstyle. Because if you know you only have one crack at things, those side areas become far more important. Soundtrack kicks in. Right. So at this point, I think I want to answer to the question about the resources. I also do eventually want to go back up to that oil rig and figure out what's going on up there. Now, the roadmap for the game says there will be another update, a major update around the holidays, around Christmas. So about a month from now, a little over a month from now, that is going to have new mechanics, new spaces, and uh, new objects, new things that you can build. They're talking about new transportation methods. For example, there's something about a gyrocopter, which is like a helicopter. That would speed things up, but would probably reduce the amount of resources that you carry from any given place. I don't remember if that's in the next update or the one after that. So it is under active development. This is a chunky amount of content for this stage in the game. It took me about 60 hours. Yeah, the gyro will be really good for sea transport. That is a good point. I guess the next problem to solve is how to stage things. There's a lot of things that can be left with the renewable power, like solar and wind. And so you could fill the tanks and fill the power at a location and then just come by and check on it. It seems like the bottleneck is going to be the methane at the rocket launch. Because the only way I found for methane was one of the generators. The generator required fuel of some kind. It didn't have a renewable source like solar. You couldn't hook solar up to an electric generator and generate the carbon dioxide you needed for the methane. Now, the ship generates carbon dioxide as you go if you're using the diesel engine, but there's not a collection method for it as of yet, unless you put a methane tank on the ship. I've seen posts that if you try to put the reactor and a methane tank on the ship, sometimes it sends the ship physics really wonky. Like the weight distribution really goes wild. So I want to sort some stuff out before I try that. That would probably be the next. It's daytime. Let's go ahead and pick this up. That would be the next thing to try, I think, is to set up one of those reactors. So as you rolled around, you could collect methane and have it on the ship, at least some of it, and then take that back. Oh. And I don't know if I want to experiment. Yeah. I'm not on the beta at the moment. I'm waiting for them to do the basic troubleshooting. I did have the bug where the ship just kind of went bonkers. I tried to put a Lazarus seed on it. I was coming out of the seed vault and I tried to put the seed on it. And when I put the seed down, the ship sank. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And I thought it was the Lazarus seed that was causing me trouble, but no, I think it was just the wind and the wave physics were completely out of whack. Although I imagine some folks have talked about weight distribution on the boat as well. I have not tricked out my boat. Significantly. I'm still running fairly light. You need iron and plastic. This is my stash box for repairing the wind turbines. Oh no, I saw a couple of the ones that were just what's the phrase? Yeeting the boat into orbit, they said. It just flew. I do recall trying to jump over one of the roller balls, and suddenly I flew a lot higher than I expected, but that might have been user error. My platforming skills are almost non-existent. All right. You are the bullet box. We're going to put you there, put you there. So I'm kind of in a sorting pattern. I did the last listener. I have not done that oil rig. I am quite curious about it. But I want to get away from that. Oh, for Pete's sake. I want to get away from that, the last listener, because I upset one of the angels and it kept coming after me every time I poked my head out. And so I think I didn't want to pick a fight with it. I'm still not at the point where I can take down one of the angels. Yeah, they say the ship will stop if it senses that you're not on board anymore. I have not tested that theory. Yeah. I was getting pretty good at the roller balls. The hitbox and the shark. A lot of people said that dismantling the sharks was really tough, but I imagine I was getting a lot of good use out of the electric rifle. In terms of the rollerball, if I had a battery connected to myself and could really charge it up, I think the sharks are likely similar. But yeah, they probably move around a lot more, which I imagine all of the stuff. Yeah. I imagine they're harder to hit. No plastics. All right. Jump and run. Jump and run. 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 I have not been a loot goblin. You do a max of 2% damage to the ship. I gotta always remember to check the ship for damage. I've been neglecting it. Although I did come back at one point and there was a big hole in one of the sides, and I said, yeah, I probably should do something about that. All right. That should be enough for wind turbines. Do I have to check? I do. Yeah. I think they said you had to start picking fights with the sharks at least in order to get some of the rare materials. Because eventually, I imagine you run out of the little robots. Oop, wrong button. All right. Wait, now I have no iron? I will figure this out. Get up the Tech 2 scrap. Yeah. They're bright, shiny ones. I did find enough of the angels just sort of lying about in some of the rooms. You've got all sorts of things in you. Yeah. Split. And what? 20 iron. You don't need to be in there. You don't need to be in there. I must have been using this as a dump box. I've not used the sniper because the ammo was really expensive. But there's plenty of towers floating around where you probably park yourself. Not a lot of cover up on the towers, though. So that might not be. I also have a habit of backing off of things. I've dropped myself off more than a couple platforms and gone for a swim without meaning to. Okay. I'm going to put you over here in the battery box. You're the brains box. You're the flashlight. You're the memories. You're the food, which I don't have any yet. That's going to be the next thing that I need to work into my workflow. Let's make a parts box. But I haven't made any food either. I've been chucking everything into the diesel. It's my diesel situation. I haven't been using the diesel. All right, diesel is pretty much full. So I could start using the diesel. Are you thinking about it? There we go. And now I have X-rays, which is fine. I have all sorts of alloy frames. I have to remember that. The standing lights. I wish I put some lights into some of those dark spaces at Lazarus because makes me nervous jumping around in there. I think I took out most of the enemies in Lazarus. Oop, let me check my net. All right. Okay. Since I don't need as much diesel at the moment, let's put some of this up. Let's put some of this in here. We'll make food later. All right. Let's go back. Yeah, I have been getting a lot of really good vibes off of this. This is the first time I've done a game this early in early access and gotten that deep into it. So I'm kind of just making it up as I go, but they have been very good with communicating. And their YouTube and their Discord are really nice. I don't do Discord very often to comment since it's just one more social media platform to check. It's a real I find myself just having too much going on. Are you not fixed? Did I prep to fix you, wood turbine, and then not actually do you? I know that. Yeah. And the rainbow's in. Yes, you're not fixed. Now, are you happy? There we go. So this has been a really interesting process. Do not fall off the boat. Do not fall off the boat. Okay. I'm just gonna hope I don't run into anything. Mm, all right. So I'm almost at a spot where I might try to do a second run and see about getting a bit more efficient. But I could just go around to a lot of the empty random spaces and see what's there. There is at present a level cap at 25. So I imagine I want to be a bit more cautious about allocating some of the points. I imagine that will lift as it goes. All right. To my knowledge, I have not upset anything at Lazarus, so I don't have to worry about getting shot at. And I could probably finish clearing out some of those spaces. Put in more water and electricity. And I think I'll do a couple of the nearby platforms and maybe work my way down to one of the other sanctuary docks and see what the inside of those look like. Here's me standing at the wheel of the ship. They're also talking about photo mode. I don't usually get too deep into photo modes, but this is such a beautiful game. I am one of those people who saw Waterworld in the theater. So there's a little piece of me that's like, ooh, I get to play Waterworld. Yeah, I'll pick a fight with the shark next time. So I suspect I'm going to want to increase energy production on the boat. That's going to mean at least one more battery. Better solar. And I need to check. I can't remember which wind turbines those are. I don't like them in the front. They do get a little bit in the way. I should run you over sharp. Yeah, get out of the way. Okay. There you go. I think I have enough materials for a round of solar. I think I want to put some more solar in some spaces on Lazarus. I need a list. This is where pinning recipes kind of to make a quest list for yourself might be useful. Alright. Where am I coming from and where is the dock? This is the back end of this. Right. I'm going to save here. So if I run into a mine in the dark, at least I have. Ooh, the mines. They say you can shoot the mines too. And let me put you in backup slot one. Right. Perfect slot two. Right. This happened. Okay. I get out of this system. I go to the keyboard. Oh, it's not happy with me. Walk a minute. I have glitched it so that it will not leave the backup screen. It is responsive. Okay. Take that back. Select. No, select. Oh, it doesn't think that I am connected. Away. All right. Glad this happened when I was backed up. All right, I'm going to have to manually close the game and then I'm going to back up again. So the sound's going to get a little wonky for a second. Hold on. Right. And or just steam, stop the game. It's not in full screen anymore. I must have missed another button. There we go. It's windowed. All right, let's see. That's the 17th. That's the 15th. So that's where the system broke down. I think sometimes I move too fast for the game. So I'm going to wait for it to load before I do anything. There we go. That's where I want to be. All right. Go back down. Okay. In the meantime, the storm has moved in. The weather in this game is bonkers. Why have I lost power? I lost power because I was repairing things. There's a whole bunch of stuff over here that tells you how the boat runs that I don't really have the faintest idea what it does. All right. Sometimes the anchor comes up smooth and sometimes it wibbles. Okay. That is the front. I think I just need to swing around. Right. Some of the wind turbines crapped out. And so the lights don't come on until the sun is up. Maybe not. They were red for a moment there, and now they're all lit up. Gonna need more batteries there. There's the dog. I would mess with the mines. I wonder what. No, they can be exploded from a distance. That's probably where those snipers' rifles come in handy as well. All right. Not the best parking job ever, but not the worst. Yes, yes. I know, leeches. All right. So, nothing shooting at me. Lots of plus. All right. Let's think this. First thing I want to do actually is I want a bit more passive solar. I could demo some of the ships. Sometimes the ship had solar panels on the roof. And they're the little piddly ones, but they're well positioned. I think I'm going to try that. All right. I've not done And the farming bit either. Yes, if you've got a farming bed, you have a consistent supply of biomass that doesn't involve farming leeches. If you have a supply of fresh water someplace like Lazarus, no. Okay, and it's 3 more. John, more. Doing them one at a time because sometimes I end up duplicating effort. So we have 2 elephants. We need one. This wants a solar cell and connected. So code 1 connected port. So that should be enough possible. Much port you have. We need one of that. Pretty sure I saw them flash Yeah, they're not in my inventory anymore. They are built up there. The front of the ship, I have the mid-grade standing panels. Which aren't bad. What I'll do first is another pack. I have room for another two of these. Let's do these first. Mind there being a cable off to one side, but I don't want to walk through it every time. Go in there. So let's do there. Yep. All right, fine. Necessary. All right, good enough. Ship is full at the moment, so that's not really an issue. You You over here. Here. Over here. Ah, wait a minute. They're all just talking to each other. In that box. Okay. That should be the power socket, although I could upgrade these as well. Yes, I can use. What to do is you now detach. Right. I'm gonna have to dismantle you and rebuild. I think we're going to put you over here. Seriously again? Mm. 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 Right, fine. You're out on the front. I want a place to put them without draping wires all over. These are electrical. Those are electrical. And I guess if I have that silly reactor there, then it's right. Mm. guess maybe this was the best place for it after all. It annoys me to have it here, though. If it's cluttering up the front, then it's getting in the way of my energy generation. That also annoys me. Right. Maybe this way around. Because that's the way the drop bucket is. Why you're just gonna have to cross in the back? Yeah. Yeah. I changed my mind again. It's gonna have to go over here. There's no room there. Great. Now, off there back to where it started. Okay. Question is, for the message, you just have you to have the purifier as well. They're just wandering around over there. Alrighty then. Okay. So that's most of the boat. Yeah, no, they just, okay. Go ahead and finish clearing out. Corner over there. In the water just water purified. Yeah. Tanks. So if you go here, wires that go along there. Save. That's okay. I don't have the methane tank on watch. So this is a bit of a waste of time. Right. Freshwater container. Stores oxygen. It's the different types of food. Methane. Grenades. Yeah. Installation tower. Interest. Start from oil and electricity. All right. Let's lay out some of our. They don't have a methane catcher, just the same way they have an oxygen. Yeah, I think I need tiny deal over to the oil platform. Put the tanks up there. Okay. Oh my gosh. I have not done anything that requires deep pressure. I wonder if I should hold those for that. I'm pretty good on most everything else. I think that's when you're making things on your body other than through the fabricator. All right. I kind of still want to see if that tank would even fit back here. Something. You do fit, sorta. I suspect that oxygen tank is taller though. Mm, right. All right, let's save and see what it looks like on the inside. any ammo on them and run into anything. all this looks pretty much as I left it. We could have up to 4 water purifiers going. It's not doing anything at the moment because there's no tanks down here. The tank is upstairs and the tank is full. But if we have more of the Lazarus pots going, more water, it might be worth putting the water tanks down here. I would be able to get to them very easily if we did that. Me too. Don't do that again. Seriously, I was trying to see if any ports were there. It's not obviously pull it here. This is bringing it through the from the bottom and through the wall. The daisy chain a whole bunch along here. Yeah, I took power down there. You do, but very slowly. It's like, have it honestly. Battery up here. You're the mids. You're the mids. Okay. Fall off the edge. Let's see. With the heavy duty solar out there, I probably need to upgrade these as well. Cycling, yes. To the taller ones. That would increase capacity here. I knew this. Oh, and I also want to have food and memories in a box convenient to the pods. There's a little bit of resources lying around. Where did my box go? There's my box. Maybe you haven't left it. Anyways, he's obviously doing something over there. I'm going to the other box. You can stay here. Okay. The roof is pretty clear. Although I imagine there's repairs to be done up there. I should get a box. Do some basics. And do a round of repairs. I should think about the upgrade. Do at least 3 more bags. Let's do 3 more bags first. Batteries all connector ports. Logic chips. All of which we have. Alloy furnace. Okay. Battery over there. There's another battery over there. There's one on the roof. Mhm. Investor, do I want to get the think I need to go and do that oil rig? Yeah, I think we're gonna go do that. We're gonna see what's up that way. And all right, let's do that first, and then see Diesel. You already did the navigation beacon, but it might be worth going back. Okay. He's going back there. Well, let's do the sanctuary dock first. That's what I'm curious about. Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm going to call it at the moment. we're going to go ahead and do the sanctuary dock first and see about more resources, and then gradually work our way north to the oil and see what's actually up there. Yeah, and that's where we're going to go. So, back on slot 1. We'll now go ahead and call it there. And see you tomorrow. Well, see you this evening. 5 p.m. Pacific. You can also find the VODs on my YouTube channel.